back to the Johnny Laing Show with Johnny Laing. Super duper 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 special guest, Robbie Isaacs. Now, you may ask, why is Robbie on the Johnny Laing Show? Well, you're about to find out, and there's plenty of good stuff. Probably a little bit of juicy stuff. We got a little bit of truth juice in here, so we want to see.
It's called tea.
Tea. Yeah.
Because I'll be spilling a lot of it.
So, thank you, my friend, for coming on. I love you. You're a very close friend of mine. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come out and speak to all these wonderful people out in YouTube land, and of course myself. So let's get started from the very whoa. As we said earlier, let's get started as soon as Dad. And then, so third hand, and then on. Tell us a little bit about Robbie and the origins.
Okay. Third hand knowledge on this one, folks.
Went through the fallopian tubes. No, yeah.
Most people wouldn't realize this, but my mom and my dad, there's a, I believe, 33-year age gap.
Who's older, who's younger?
My mother was 18, my dad was 51. I know my math may be off.
That sly son of a gun.
So, my dad was born September 30th, 1926. My mom was born, September 30th, and my mom was September 26th, 1959. He had already been married and had kids, so, I believe I do have a step-brother, step-sister I never met.
You never met them? And they're probably in their, 70s or something.
Most of the people on my father's side are dead anyway.
All dead.
Him too, unfortunately. He died on tax day 26 years ago.
On tax day?
Yes.
Man, you talk about good timing.
Of all days. Your taxes due. By the way, your dad's dead.
Game over. So?
My mom, to my knowledge, is from her. She had my older sister, who's 4 years older than me. Then there was a miscarriage. Then there was me in 78. So you have 74, 78, and then my younger sister is 79. I know most people ask, do you have a relationship with your parental figures, your sisters?
Well, when you say parental figures, I think we're kind of getting the idea.
Well, I say this because you do have some people that call their parents sperm donors. Some say parental figures. Some people say my mom and my dad. Me, when it comes to my mom, I love her, I don't like her. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
My older sister, my younger sister, we have some kind of relationship. It's kind of here and there, we may talk here and there. It's once whenever the crows come together, and we rarely ever come together, but that will take us into some more of the story here.
Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
From what I remember, I can remember all the way back to I was 3.
When you say remember, you're talking about third party.
Yes, third party. It's always third party. I was the third party, folks.
Yeah.
I was born at University Hospital, west side of Baltimore. From what my mother told me, I was a greedy baby. I would throw things at you if I didn't get my fair share of milk.
I see that.
Well, I love food. I love the seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. From there, that's when it gets interesting. It kind of jumps to me being with my dad, and then...
You mean being with your dad like you're living with your dad?
Yeah, literally living with my dad. I lived 1815 Fulton Avenue, then 1647 Bakeberry Court. I did live in Flag House Apartments, for those of you that remember Flag House, Baltimore folks. But here's the fun part. I have a Dundalk connection. My grandmother lived in Chestnut Court in Upper Turners.
Ah.
So I used to always take the number 10 bus, because I was hopping buses since I was 6 or 7. Yeah, I know. Where's your parental figure?
That wasn't a thing. Parental. You mean your mommy?
Parental figure. And at that time I was with my dad, so it was super parental figure. I'd get on the number 10 bus that went to Dundalk Bull Neck Road. It made a turn to go into Upper Turns. I got off the bus, went through the back way, went into Chestnut Court, which was a horseshoe. She was at the house right there.
I played baseball when I was young for Water's Edge. So right down there.
Do you realize that it took me years to figure out what the heck I used to call it? Water Siege. I was like, what's a water siege? What's Inverness?
So was that a better parental situation?
My grandmother, including my dad or parental figure, they were big on spare the rod, spoil the child. Child is seen, not heard. So, you say things incorrectly in front of adults. It was sometimes a double or triple beating, depending.
Right.
Because my mom, my father, my grandmother, if I misbehaved in school or in public, they gave permission to pull them pants down and wax that ass.
I really think that was a generational thing too, because I remember, well, number one, my mother didn't play around. My dad was much softer handed, but I just think because he didn't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think that was a generational thing.
Just what happened. Let's see, this reminds me of a day that I wanted to go outside and play, and I decided to.
What age?
This was around 7 or 8, I want to say, give or take. I was there because my dad was off doing God knows whatever. My mother at the time, I didn't even know she existed. She came kind of a little later, I'd say around 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
So you didn't even know your mom existed?
I didn't know who she was. Like, who's this? But we'll get to that story in a second.
Okay.
My grandmother was a devout Jehovah's Witness. And for some reason, I used to collect the Watchtower and the Awake magazines and like to see which one I could stack up. And have to go to Kingdom Hall every Sunday and from house to house and door to door. So I was given one of my command performances of, I want to go outside, why can't I go outside and play? Well, she decided to let me go outside and play. So I hopped the fence of the neighbors that had the pool.
Oh.
Now, mind you, this is like the 80s. So if you got a pool, you're rich.
Right, you got money.
So
now everybody got money.
Even in the hood. I'm playing in the pool. Next thing I know, another secret. Some people know, most people don't. My real nickname is actually Ike.
Ike?
Yes.
You know I'm going to call you that from now on.
I normally ignore people when they say that.
You ain't going to ignore me, but I'm calling you.
I guess if you keep providing the liquor, I can keep quiet on that one. So my grandma's like, Ike! I'm like, coming, Grandma. This woman, she was in her 70s. I don't know how older people can be so quick. That door opened, I go in, next thing I know, I was turned, pants down.
They're good.
And I was like, how in the heck is she?
In her 70s.
I had to pick my switch. Had to do that a couple times.
Oh, man.
But see, what my grandmother used to do is, if I misbehaved, I was sent to bed with no supper and I had to take a shot of castor oil.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
Castor oil, for those of you youngins on there, is this gray, goopy...
So thick.
All I can say is I found out later is to keep you regular. For me, I thought she was trying to poison me with magnesium sulfate or something. And every night. And there would be times I didn't know I did something wrong. And she was like Norman Bates of the house, because you take a bath and you think everything's in there. I was not a good child. I was very...
You were the devil.
Well, because I found out later in life my mom wanted to name me Damien. But my dad insisted that I be named after him. And I was 2 months premature according to my mother. I was supposed to be born in October and not August.
Me too, I'm too much premature.
But, my mother showed up in the picture eventually, and that's how I met my younger sister. Here's a fun part for you. Here's a West Virginia joke. I'm on the west side of Baltimore in Gilmore Homes, 1647 Bakeberry Court. And this woman shows up, and my dad's talking to this woman. She looks like a man, boy. That's a man, boy. My mom is very... And she brings this girl. For those of you that think that I came this way, I probably did, but I was fighting it. So I decided...
What way are you talking about? We'll get there.
We will get there. Stay tuned. So I see this girl, like, she's kind of cute. Puppy love, whatever. So I'm talking with her, And we're playing in the sandbox. We're keeping it cute and nice in the sandbox. 24 hours later, my dad says, by the way, this is your mother and that's your sister.
How old were you at that point?
I believe it was 9.
That's a that's a culture shock.
I was like, okay. So, first relationship, your own sister.
Hey, Miss Patty, you get that one, don't you?
She gonna hurt you.
I know.
So, mind you, that's when my mother lived in McCullough Homes, which was, because I used to walk everywhere. I'd say a 20-minute walk from the west side to over where for those of you that live in Baltimore, where the state building is.
Right.
I literally walked that. I walked literally everywhere, except if I wanted to take the bus. That's when you had 5 zones, you had to pay the extra.
Right.
This is Generation X for you. The last ones that, there was only first, second, and third, and if you came in first, there were no participation trophies. Sorry.
That's why I'm so competitive.
I like
winning. But anyway, so speaking of that, speaking of participation trophies and winning, you're going through this whole life and figuring out and finding out new things, mom and sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I also know that you are a beautiful singer, very talented entertainer. So when did that come into play during this whole, or did it come later?
Actually,
I picture you walking that 20-minute walk and singing while you're doing it.
Not exactly. I remember this like it was yesterday. My dad used to always sing military stuff because he was World War II vet. And there was this, like I know bits and pieces of the song, but it was this military song and he would always play it on the Victrola. God, I'm aging myself.
Yeah.
And he would play it, and I would hum along to it, but there was no, oh my God, I'm some child musical prodigy. I remember, because in the hood, it's pretty much B103, any other soul station, what the heck was country, or rock, or any of that. It was, you listen to 80s rap, Kumo D, DJ Easy, Rock and Roll Bass, Eric B, Rock Kim, or you were listening to Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, Whitney Houston.
I think we all listened to that.
Minnie Riperton.
That was all the big music back then.
But when you're in the hood,
that's all you listened to.
You come out with "You're Cheating Hard," they be like,
Where'd
they play that white music from?
Where'd that come from?
Well, they used another term, but that's how it was. I remember around 6 or 7, and I know I'm backing and forth between 6 and 9. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Foster care came involved in all this, and that's why I'm kind of sticking it in here, because it was a foster care, mom, dad, foster care group home, mom, dad, foster care. There was a lot of
moving around,
shuffling.
Right.
And I remember sitting in my mom's space, and I want to make sure I remember this correctly, and I started coming up with these cheesy songs. I think of the first, one was kind of a parody off of Anita Baker's Just Because, but I changed the words to it, to be a little more, because I had my little tape recorder, and and then
I like how you did that.
You had or if you didn't have the ones that you could write over, the tape over the ends of a cassette tape that you don't like.
Right.
Easy way to record over that crap. You gave me a Led Zeppelin tape. I'm like, who the heck is Led Zeppelin? Now it's gonna have. But
it had to be tough. Being pushed around, or
back then,
or was it, or is it anything that you even thought about, or?
Well, the problem is that because there was abuse involved, and I say to anybody, there's a difference between getting your ass whipped for being a bad child and being abused. And yes, I'm a product on a lot of different levels of it. And I decided to tell someone in elementary school, and then they went and told somebody else, and the whirlwind just started, and it was like I just had all these people in my face asking me this, that, and the other, and shrinks, and this, and this test and that test. You have this malfunction and this malfunction. And somewhere in there, I started singing. It was just
a release.
I guess. I mean, when I did it, it was just I would sing in the closet. I'd make sure no one heard me. My younger sister, was the one that was singing, and I just stayed back in the back and just like, whoop, 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 whoop. I really.
You're not in the back anymore.
Yeah. The thing about it is,
I mean, you've won singing competitions.
Couple. We'll get to that part. That's because that's a whole nother shade. Pardon me, folks. He drinks a lot. Deal with it. But somewhere around 6th grade, so that puts me 10, 11, 12. Now, mind you, I'm still being bounced around from house to
How long did that last?
Until I was 21.
Wow. See, now, this is stuff that I'm telling you folks right now, this is stuff that to me, and this is a person that I'm friends with, we hang out, we do parties together, and now I'm getting a shot.
Yep. I aged out of the system at 21, but rewind. I went to Golden Ring Middle. Well, I was at this foster home with this woman named Brenda Brightful.
She probably changed her name so she can get the foster kids. Brightful. She probably beat the crap out of you.
No, she was a tart. That's me being kind. Her daughter was to see you next Tuesday. I forgive her for me, but beyond that, she can kick rocks. There was some instances where my sexuality was kind of tested that I didn't know, and I really didn't.
So what age was it tested?
Around 11, 12.
Okay, so I'm not trying to jump ahead.
No, it's fine.
I'm not trying to jump ahead.
We're going to be jumping back and forth, and it's fine.
The way your life goes, we got to jump back and forth. Because you just blew my goddamn mind. So at 12, you say that your sexuality was tested, meaning.
Well, the situation was, the rooms was that you had 2 older kids in this other room, and there was me and another younger kid in bunk beds in the other room. One of the older ones came in and. Yeah, I guess. But the funny part about it is he decided to stay in bed and cuddle, and I kind of liked it. But I was like, no, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. No. The Lord said, "Let there be light." Yada yada yada.
Growing up in an age group we're in the same generation. Mm-hmm. I am a lot older than you, but we're the same generation. And that was
when I'm old, blackness and cracks.
Black don't crack. You see, my shit's cracking.
I moisturize.
So.
But I didn't really expound upon it at that time. It was more of I'm at this place, I'm going to Golden Ring Middle. I found out because they put me in this general music class. And it's like, okay, is this a C note? Or the clarinet does this, or it was like, because, in elementary school, they give you like kind of an education that everybody does.
Right, basic, and then let's get you to the next level.
But I remember the music teacher, the chorus teacher. She came over in our general music class, and she says, "I'm looking for people to join is anyone here interested in joining the choir and singing in the choir?" Now, mind you, I've been singing here and there, but nothing super serious. Sorry, cereal. That's my word to say of the day. Cereal, folks.
Just don't eat it.
Right. I said, sure, I'll go. And I went over there and, sing now a song, joyful singing. That was one of the first songs we learned, and we actually sang it a cappella at one of the adjudications for our middle school. And from 6th grade, also I tried to learn how to play the flute. That didn't work. Joe, you'll get this. I had a problem blowing into the pipe.
If Robbie wanted to be a good flute player, trust me, he would have played it. And not the piccolo either.
I wish just could. It just, no.
You can't do it like that.
No.
Anyway.
Well, that came in my 20s. So I did course in 6th grade. I ran away from my foster parents that were there, Brenda Brightful and her evil ass daughter and her simple twit boyfriend. And she's like, I don't take runaways, and then I got shipped back, and I went back. Somehow I ended up back with my mom, and I ended up going to Booker T, Washington, and I may be flipping some years and stuff, but it's been so many years. And I ran for SGA president at that time, and I beat the most popular kid in the school, which was really scary that people voted for me over this kid. My reward for that, I got the crap beat out of me. I got beat up every day after school. I got egged in front of my house quite often, and my mom would leave the door locked and make me fight people. To the point to where I brought a weapon to school. I brought a knife to school. I was going to cut some people that day.
Oh, shit.
And I got expelled from Baltimore City Public School System. Mind you, I was an A student, and I got expelled. SGA president, A student, expelled. And they was like, why do you come tell us? I said, I've been telling you guys every day what's been happening to me, and you've done nothing. So, I guess for me, for the kids today that, stop bullying, this, that, and the other, all that. I come from a genre where, an era where you had to knuckle up and do it.
I'm saying, look, after school, you gotta be ready to rock and roll.
I had to find a way to fight back. There was no, none of this stuff I see now. I'm not against it. It's just for me, it doesn't resonate with me because I was forced to fight back.
So was I. Agreed. I was there, same era. And by the way, my mother was the same way. I had to fight.
And even if I got my butt whipped, which happened quite a bit, and some of them fights were with my younger sister. Me and my sister had some epic outside fights and inside house fights, I bust her upside the head with a mustard bottle. She stabbed me in the head with a fork. We've
been through
the
battles. So you're rolling through. Now you went to Booker T. That's middle school.
Yes, that's it's actually on McCullough. Not McCullough. Oh God, I'm looking right at it and I can't remember the street. I just drove by it yesterday.
So now, did you stay with your mom through high school or where?
No, it gets even better.
Okay.
So as I get expelled, I get sent to Lamel, which is a suspension school, and then they petitioned Baltimore City to give me clemency because of my impeccable school record, of being a good hoodlum child. So somewhere in that time, I ended up back in the system, and I ended up at Woodburn Group Home. But somewhere in there, I was at the boys' home on Park Avenue. But I eventually made my way to Woodburn on Fayette Street. And then they decided that they were going to put me in a specialized foster care system.
Specialized? What's
See, in the foster care system, which I know a lot about, there's, say you have room in your home, you want to see a disadvantaged child, no matter what the race is, that's been abused. You choose to take care of them, you get some sort of stipend from the state, and you raise them and until they either go back with their parents, which usually reunification, say the words, is what they look for.
Right.
Or you age out at 21. Specialized foster care is that they look at it as you as someone that's been you have so much trauma that they need family that's specialized, they're specialized, they get extra training in dealing with my neuroses, my neuroticisms, and all that good stuff. But then you'd have to see a shrink every week. I've seen more shrinks than I care to admit. God, I've been seeing shrinks since I was 7. I've been over it for years. But that's specialized because then you have the regular social worker from Baltimore City Department of Social Services, which I dealt with. Then you had Woodburn and their social worker, and then you had to see the shrink from DSS, and you had to see the shrink from Woodburn.
Oh.
It was, and somewhere in that I ended up with, and I'm name dropping because I don't care, Barbara and Eric Aiken, Jamaican. And through them, I ended up going into Johnny Cake Middle, which is now Southwest Academy.
Johnny Cake over Kingsville.
Woodlawn, whatever they call it these days. They keep changing the map. So I went there, I believe 7th grade. And by this time, my reading level, I'm behind. You know, we were still doing California Achievement tests going into 6th grade. But
I remember that.
You know, them cat tests.
You old.
Hey.
I don't even think they have music classes anymore.
Scantron, Takaturan, number 2 pencil.
Right.
You had to buy them, then whatever. So I get through 7th grade barely. I get to 8th grade, I kind of, and then I make my way to Woodlawn, as I call it, Hoodlawn High School.
I spent your whole high school career?
All 4 years I spent at Woodlawn.
That was a change for you.
The change was the fact that Evanston High School kids used to lie about their address to come there and beat people up. My 10th grade year, we had more bomb threats than I cared to admit.
Wow.
But I was still in one place. You know, still getting bullied. I threw chairs at people in school. They used to call me Psycho Rob. I was like, yeah, say something else, I'll throw something else at you. One of my science teachers said, you know, you're letting them win by acting like that. I said, well, you're not doing a goddamn thing about it. So but somehow
you made it.
I went through 4 years of chorus. This is where the singing really, and I was a bona fide voice soprano to like the middle of 10th grade when my voice went, oh!
Yeah, say your voice is so deep now.
Like I literally had Mariah Carey range. I actually could go all the way up there. I miss that voice, I really do. But somewhere in there, I decided that I wanted to start writing. Because, I mean, I don't talk about this too much, but around my 10th grade year, we went to Canada and I tried to hang myself in my hotel room.
Jesus.
And of course, my foster father, when he found out, he said, you should have completed the job. I respect him, but he can kick rocks too. Anyway, I never liked the man from day one. So mind you, I'm starting to write choral music, and it was in my head. I'd have these melodies, and I just write them down and I bang them out, and my voice changed, and that took a minute. It took a lot longer than I'd say it took 10 years for me to get used to it, because it just, and I went from soprano to tenor to baritone to bass baritone, and depending on some days, straight up bass. But, you know, I did the school thing, did the SGA thing, you know, was treasurer my last year.
Any college?
That 25-year story is that's its own.
That's its own. So quick college. How long have you been in college?
Actually, when I graduate next year, it'll be on and off 26 years.
And you're getting your degree?
I keep at the pace I'm going. I should graduate the end of the fall semester next year.
Wow, congratulations. Let me tell you, you wanted bad. You wanted bad to go to school for 26 damn years.
It wasn't that. It was just it's called poor time management skills, lack of motivation, and I couldn't understand why writing a paper is going to prepare me for the work world. I still don't get that, but sometimes I've learned some people have the handle, you have the blade. You know, I'm on the blade. If I buck, I don't get my degree, so I have to play ball and not.
Right, you're not on the handle. Not this time, but you will be after you get your degree.
But I graduated one seat out of National Honor Society, which really sucked. I sung at my I was on the choir, of course, but I was tapped to sing the state song, which I'd never heard a day in my life. All I know is that Jesus Christ Terry, I mean John Terry, he comes to me and calls me Charles. I'm like, my name's not Charles, because they all used to get me and Charles Chambers mixed up. I'm like, we look nothing alike. I said, no, I'm Robert. So he gave me this, he's like, we would like you to sing the state song, and he gives me a sheet that has 6 sets of lyrics on it. I have never heard the state song, Maryland, My Maryland, a day in my life.
But you can sing it now.
Actually, what I did was I listened to, I really didn't listen to it, but I looked at the lyrics, and in my head I heard this march. So I was like, oh, my thankful heart with rapture fills Maryland, my Maryland, when I behold thy rolling hills.
It just came out.
And I said, okay. I sung the acapella, did what I had to do, graduated, gave my diploma, tasseled all that to my foster parents. They were like, don't you want to hang out with your friends? I said, what friends? I don't have friends. I gave them to them, and I immediately went to community college because I wanted to go to Berkeley College of Music at the time because I wanted to be a music teacher.
I can see that. I can see that.
I couldn't play the piano for a lick, but... And there was a fight. And it was like, well, why do you want to go there? Why don't you go to Morgan? I'm like, why do you want me to go there? Well, it's a predominantly historically black college. I'm going, and I want to go here. I don't care if it's the partridge in the pear tree and the Addams family in there. I don't care. This is where I want to go.
Right. They were directing you toward that college for what reason, you think?
Yeah. And I was like, no, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. There were arguments in the therapy sessions because the therapy sessions were dictated by my foster parents, but what we will and what we will not talk about. All while that was happening, I did a stint around 15 in Johns Hopkins Psych Ward, the first of 4. And from there, I decided to go to Catonsville Community College, now CCPC Essex, let's get it correct. I went there, still taking the music classes, still, doing theory and all that. And then it was always like, well, I would have people in my ear, some that are on my Facebook, y'all know who y'all is. You need to pick something in the helping profession. Singing's not going to get you anywhere. You need to do something that's going to help people and help people and help people. And I used to get really indignant and really nasty. It ranks right up there with, you've missed your calling. No, maybe I didn't want that particular route for me. How about you just say you enjoyed the song and sing and shut up? Shut
up about it. Hey, listen, I get about missing your calling, so, but you haven't missed your calling because you sing. You're still singing. It ain't like you're shutting your lips about it.
I don't shut my lips about it, but I have to be honest with myself.
And I mean, let's be honest. You have an amazing singing voice, and not only that, your presence on the stage.
Has its moments.
Yes. So I mean, all that together, your personality, your stage presence, you command.
But that didn't come overnight. I tell this, I'm telling you this, and your audience. When I came out of high school, the voice you hear now was not my voice. Even in college, I still was. There was I want to say belief that I could do it, but it was just like, no, I don't. No. And just to put out there, no, I did not sing in church all my life. Stop asking me that.
I bet you do get to ask that a lot. But you have that kind of voice too.
I'm just going to put this out there. I converted to Catholicism at 28. I sung on their choir for 6 months. And the minute I sung How Great Thou Art, and my voice was bigger than the entire congregation, I stopped.
Yeah.
I am not a church singer. I am not a gospel singer.
No, you're a what do they say? You're a headliner.
That's Dolores Van Cartier. But mind you, I would say around 28 to 30, something. And this version that people have seen the last, I'm 42 now, so 14 years.
Version of you all in general or just the singing?
Well, there's a lot.
Well, let's back up. Yeah. Well, so now you just finished. We're going to come up to that, but okay. So now let's step back in time. I love this. Rewind her a little bit here.
Yes.
Okay, so at some point, now we talked about when you were 12, and one of your foster brothers came in and wanted to cuddle, and you liked it. Or you liked it, but you didn't like it because you weren't allowed to like it, but you liked it.
And all through high school, I was that. if your center tart, you need a tar feather put in the pit to die, I was just thumping that book.
Well, that's all them years of Jehovah's Witness.
No, that's just being around a bunch of Protestants back then in my neighborhood. Because, I mean, it's still a common thing. Being openly black and gay, it's always you need Jesus, or you just haven't found the right woman.
You need Jesus, but it ain't because of that.
No, I'm like, no, they need Jesus because they
do need Jesus.
That's because their husbands hit me up on Grindr. But anyway. Oops.
So through high school, you're like, have you seen the warning at the beginning of the show?
Oh yeah.
You know it's for adult.
Because this is about.
And then what's the last thing that it says? Wiener touching may happen.
Well, guess what? The wiener touching in this part didn't come as early as you think.
All right. Yeah. Well, give me some.
So here's the salacious details of my coming out. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, I might catch turn a glance here and there at the hot thing walking by. But I was also trying to make myself
not
females.
Right.
You know, I tried to have girlfriends.
Did you have any girlfriends?
I only consider my real official girlfriend would be Emily, and that was around 2021.
So you had an adult girlfriend,
and that is only because this is when I went to Towson. When she went to Towson.
Tell me a second. He been giving old JL some jaw droppers here today.
Well, here's the thing: I never did anything with anybody until 2021. Nothing. I just.
You mean nobody?
Nope.
Men or women?
Nope. My favorite thing to do was watch Skinamax the whole time. I mean,
right.
And watch Emmanuel After Dark and all that stuff. But got with Emily, and this is a common question that I get: have I ever had intercourse with a woman? I did not stick my penis in her vagina.
Right.
But I did. I did do that.
This is the greatest podcast.
So I realized after that, about females.
Yeah, that could be an eye opener there.
So I decided to start getting on AOL. You have mail, and get into the covert male for male chat rooms, and they were all over there. Met one guy, played tennis because I'd love to play tennis, but I can't play for crap right now. I'm so out of shape. That didn't go so well. Met some, I guess, light-skinned dude that was just a little too touchy-feely for me at that time because
you were new.
Yeah, I was newer than a blade of grass.
Right.
Eventually, I met Ben, and we talked on AOL, Baltimore Mail for Mail chat, exchange phone numbers. Eventually, this is when you actually had to meet people. Actually,
yeah,
you didn't have no Grindr, Scruff, Tinder, Plenty of Fish. You actually had to use your communication skills and meet people in public.
Yeah, miss those days.
Let's be all in the bar.
And I'm one of them people.
I'm going to text you while I'm sitting right here.
Hey, Robbie, what are you doing? I'm on your podcast, dummy.
Like, hello. So we met at Grand Central. No, actually went to Mount Vernon Stables. I think they closed. Then we ate. Of course, I foot the bill. Seems to be my thing with a lot of men in my life.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'll get you for that one in a second. And then we went to Grand Central. Well, it was actually Central Station at that time because I had already walked into my first gay bar, which was Stagecoach, which was next door to that. And we went to Central, and I got even more drunk, and we started swapping spit in the middle of the bar, and got in the cab, swapped some more spit in the cab, went back to his place, and
swapped other stuff.
Oh, honey, I played hide salami fairly quickly.
Now, how long were you with Ben?
I was with that motherfucker about, I want to say 6 months to a year, somewhere in there. I bought that mofo with $1,000 ring. I talk about love at first sight.
Hey, well, you were new.
I didn't know the difference between my
either head.
Yeah, I ended up having a threesome with him and his preacher's son best friend.
Oh my God! You know what? I believe it. Preacher's son.
I was the pivot point. Hey, I'm feel like this. If we're gonna go X-rate it, if they want to dislike it, that's y'all problem.
That's your problem.
Because some of y'all be doing some freaky deaky shit any damn way.
Yeah. They might get their pants down when you start talking about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. But with Ben, I eventually came completely out, which required me to go back to my foster parents. Because when I told them, they said if I ever did, they ever found that I did Batiism. Batiism is patois for gay or
butt sex.
Yes. And I said, yeah, I'm doing Batiism. I'm gay. Oh! So my way of sticking it to them some more is I brought my younger sister at the time because I met her at 19, backing up, and that's when I found out my younger sister was lesbian.
Okay.
So my mom now has a straight older daughter, a gay son, and a lesbian daughter. Go figure.
How did mom handle that?
I didn't tell that tramp until she was like 23. I was 23, 24 because she was
no communication, right?
When she finally found me, I said, by the way, I'm gay. She was like, duh, I always knew you were. I'm like, okay, just so you know.
What about Dad?
Well, he never got to know because he died in 1995 and I didn't come out till like 2000, 2001.
Oh. Okay.
So my stepfather, who I had to check him a few times, who thought that it would be a good idea to tell me that I need to stop messing with women and find myself a nice girl. I said, I'll start messing with girls when you start sucking dick.
And I guess that never
I'll
happened.
never do that. I said that I'm never sleeping with women. Mind your damn business. Just because you had drinks with my father does not make you my daddy.
That's right.
So, but we've come to a point now where when we do speak, there's no
Animosity. It's all good.
But beforehand, it was like, no, don't come for me unless I send for you.
So, all right. So now you're out. Because look, we're going places.
Yeah.
Believe me when I tell you. So, when did? And I know I'm going up back and forth and up and down.
I'm loving this back down memory lane, coming forward and back down memory lane.
At what point did you bring it all together? Okay? At what point did your singing and your alter ego and your homosexuality and your entertainment life you know where I'm going with this.
2008.
2008. That's not that long ago.
2008, I decided, actually 2007 actually, but 2008 was quite a bit more refined. Shatiza wasn't born yet. By the way, that's S-H-A apostrophe capital T-E-E-S-A-H.
That's my girl.
That tramp is expensive.
Miss T. Yeah, I know, right?
She makes my wallet quiver. I was running for a contest for a bar that no longer exists called Mr. Phoenix. And the first year I ran, I kind of dressed like this, and I wore something like this for a category, and I sung a cappella, Barry Manilow, Somewhere Down the Road. And the owners of the bar said, you have a wonderful voice, why didn't you put music behind it? And I was like, because it's harder to sing a cappella and stay on key than it is to sing with a backing track. So I came back the next year, my hair was actually even shorter than this, and it was before I got this. And I have a shirt that I wore this shirt that I no longer have. Somewhere in my photos, somewhere is a picture of me that night where I did Barry White Show, My First, My Last, My Everything. For some reason, I sung that song, and things did this. I ended up winning the competition, becoming Mr. Phoenix, and then we had a gender bending day for Halloween, where the Mister had to be the Miss, and the Miss had to be Mister. And that's when I was already wearing wigs, but now I'm kind of going to put
everything, the whole 9 yards.
I knew nothing about highlights, contour,
tucking, tape, everything.
I knew nothing about that. I've never tucked. I'm sorry, never taped. I tuck, but I don't tape. It's a way to do it and get it up under the fold.
You'll have to let me know for the next.
I'll let her tell you that business.
Yeah.
But that's when she first came, and my reign ended up being about 2 years. But I also had another bar title, and I started doing more Shatiza. But here was the thing, and what most people didn't realize at the time, I was pantomiming. For those of you that don't know what pantomime is, that's lip syncing. So, I had to, and I found lip syncing extremely difficult. Sometimes I still do, because to be able to learn the whole song and move my lips in such a way to where I'm moving like them and not an ounce of sound come out. I give mad respect to people that can lip sync extremely well. Because if you do it well, you only if they are moving, And for me, that was a challenge. I said to be able to turn my voice completely off.
That is tough.
And move and interact and collect
do all the stuff to the song and actually...
And move and be in your face while I'm doing it. There's some songs I still read a watermelon because the words are too much to get out. But, I tell people when it comes to singing, you get away with so much because I can sing a song, and if I don't really know the lines, I can change a couple words.
Right.
You won't know the damn difference.
As long as it's in tune with the music, you're good to go.
So she started to, when I stepped down as Mr. Rolling Tree in 2011, because Mr. Phoenix ended in 9, well, 10, and then they ran, because Mr. Rolling Tree and Mr. Phoenix ended up running concurrently a little bit, crossing over. So 2011, I stopped doing Robbie, as in Robbie Alexander, because I come from my stage mom is grandma is Sean Alexander, so it's Shatiz Alexander, Robbie Alexander. I was like, you know what, I'm going to...
There's no more Robbie. There's no more Robbie over here.
Yeah. I ran for King of Pride 3 times, came first ultimate 3 times, lost twice to 2 drag kings and a male entertainer that lip sync. I sung live all 3 times. The first year I didn't have my modeling down. My 3rd year was probably my best year where I laid the law down and I still lost. I won 2 of the 3 categories and still lost. I said, you know what? There was a division for me right there. Like, I'm LGBTQIA all the way, but I started to kind of just distance myself because I felt like I didn't fit the square peg, especially for the Baltimore scene. I didn't fit their square peg because I say things that they don't want to hear.
Right.
And I don't really care.
Now we're talking about your singing and your life it's in the gay world,
yeah.
but then so you've separated, but now you're I is it okay to say that the gay world? I don't know.
It depends on who you talk to.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a whole different.
The LGBT, I always say LGBTQIA community, but that's a lot of plus. It's a lot of letters, so you can say just say LGBT because that's what it started off as.
LGBT, right? So now the life that you live now. Number one, we're a member of the Democratic Club together.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're the only gay member.
Shocker
there. And then also the Moose, the Loyal Order of Moose, of which...
I'm also a member of the American Legion.
American Legion, what else?
About to become a member of the VFW.
So you're out and all. You're a clubber.
Well, I've learned you can't go to the club with young 20-somethings and have a good time without drama.
Right, so you got to come with us old people? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm sorry. I'd rather go out and have a good time and not have to deal with the drama. I'm getting to that age where my level of BS is kind of like that.
Getting thin, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm there. And anyway, wherever we go, there's usually a daddy problem.
No, but I've it's a rarity that I've had problems. I've had
I'm not talking about having problems with you. I mean problems in general.
No, I've had issues in each one of the places I just mentioned. I've had issue.
Really?
See... And I'll backtrack first. I decided to...
That's me rewinding.
I was dating a guy that was a former seminarian.
Wow.
That lived in Essex. I'm going to not go too deep in because he passed away. But through him, I found out about the American Legion. And I thought that it was just a bunch of old war people getting drunk.
It is kind of that, isn't it?
I didn't know that. That's what my assumption was, but I didn't realize that my father's service got me in.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's how I got in. And I didn't realize the age gap I was dealing with, because I joined when I was 28. And I'm dealing with people that are 60, 70, 80.
Yeah, World War II, Korea, Vietnam.
And they're looking at me and, excuse me, there were some interesting slurs thrown at me here and there. My first 2 years at the American Legion, I can tell you of at least 10 people that dropped a few racial bombs on me.
Wow.
Now, 15 years in, oh, Robbie, no, we love you, you sing so well. I'm like,
right, 15 years ago.
I'm like, I went from zero to hero. It took a decade and a half.
Hey, but you know what?
But
you're my hero.
Oh, good Lord, child.
So where are we now? Because I know that recently, to my surprise, and by the way, you really you're good at dropping shockers on people. I mean, my jaw dropped at least 20 times today.
You have to learn how to. I learned in college, in speech class, and in impromptu speaking in high school. You don't tell a story straight through. You purposely omit certain things to come back and say, well, I did this because this happened. It's all in telling. I realized the last time I told this story when I was in college, I gave a very dull, boring, oh, please. I was like, you know what? We're going to make this entertaining. And at the end of the day, my walk is my walk. And I had two choices, and I decided this when I made this speech in college. I was like, I can either continue to lament on all the crap I've gone through. I'll never forget it.
No.
Or I can just say, you know what?
You have a very strong recollection of it.
Like, life sucks.
Sometimes.
I can tell you, actually, truth be told, I can tell you the exact day my life went down, November 23rd, 1987. That's when everything went.
No, I get it.
I don't know. I just, now, between being a member of all these different organizations that and a lot of times being the only ink dot in the room, well, the only ink dot in the room, but luckily at the Moose I got Jeff and Paul, and I've gotten some other, gals I know that, are willing to join for the cause. I was like, if little Miss Gertrude over there don't like me because I'm whatever, gay or black or whatever her little problem is, you know what, if this donation I'm making for these other kids so they possibly don't have to go through this, that, and the other.
Don't have to go through what you went through. Mm-hmm. That's the goddamn truth.
I'm not going to worry about little Miss Gertrude over there and who got to take a ginkgo biloba or whatever they call that pill. Because
you're there for the kids.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't expect everybody to like me. I've been called the N-word, the F-word.
What's the F-word?
I've been called arrogant, cocky, self-righteous, condescending, a bitch, a see you next Tuesday, an Uncle Tom. I can keep going on and on and on. I love this saying, and I say it so many times, and it offends people, but I love to offend people with this. If you're not feeding me, financing me, or fucking me, your fucking opinion doesn't fucking matter.
I get it. It makes sense.
Because I can't, and I refuse to spend my life constantly worrying about what everybody else thinks of me. There's over 250 million people on right here, just in the United States.
Yeah, right, yeah.
If you're lucky to have 10 million of them like you, you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky to have 3 close friends in your life, you're lucky.
Yeah.
I've had more ex-husband, legal ex-husband, and a few more exes than I care to admit. But you know what? Would I trade it and get a fresh start? No, not really. I'd like to have the knowledge I have now, but I'd rather I'll do it over again because there's no point of
where you are right now in life has, come from all these things and that I'm learning for the first damn time, and it's all coming together for me. It's like knowing, and I've known you for years. And how long have you been a member of the Moose?
8 years.
Well, there you go. So
I just don't. I don't make it a point to say, "Hi, I'm Robbie. I'm gay. I do drag, and
Well,
I was foster child. I was beat. I was da 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 da."
I get that. I get that. But I think what I mean more than that is I feel grateful for you, you know, coming on the show and bearing your heart and your life, and so I gotta say something. So recently you moved. Oh, can we bring this into the thing? And you let me know whether you want to bring it in. Because you done brought all this other stuff in, cuddling with your brother and all kind of weird shit, so we can't talk about that?
Fine. I'm gonna preface this where I'm gonna change names for the innocent.
Well, that would be you. You have to change your own name.
Oh no, my name stays the same, but the other party involved, because
are they innocent?
Fuck no. But at the same time, eventually I will find this episode and I will share it on my Facebook, and I am friends with said person's mother. So
whom you actually care
I do
about,
actually get along with,
have a
and
relationship
I've been trying to stay the high road, although I have definitive not so nice things to say. But I will give you
just a bridge,
almost
just a little taste.
Yeah, I'll give you a little taste of drama. So here's what had happened. What had happened was, Tom, as he would be lovingly named, I was talking to Tom for a little while, and we kind of just disappeared off the map for a while. And I realized that he was just coming out of a long-term relationship. So I was like, okay, I've known you for many years. I understand you coming out of a long-term relationship. When you're ready to talk, you know, and see what we can do, we'll go from there. So I gave him a call during a wedding that I went to last year. And we kind of just picked right back up where we left off. And, you know, there was definitive interest from both of us. It was definitive that we wanted to, you know, be in a relationship, possibly get married, things of that nature. Because the groundwork had already been laid because we'd already knew each other. He had already moved to Mississippi 5 months ahead of time in October of last year.
So from here?
Yes, he's from here, actually. Go figure. And I said, you know, it put me in a position to where I was like, you know what, this is going really well, you know, this long distance relationship, but at the same time, I have a choice now I have to make. Do I want to stay up here and possibly watch this, or do I go to him, which would be easier for me to find another job because of my, and yet I can still do my schooling because it's online. So I decided I said, you know, I'll move down there. I think we'll do this. I think we're a pretty good fit. I wasn't a fan of the best friend being moved down there because I didn't know her, and I didn't think that it would be wise to have me come down and Justin and her at the same time. And you've known this girl forever. You know, I didn't mind her coming down, but I just thought the timing of both were too soon.
Should have got you there, got settled in, and then bring her down.
Or just say, look, I'm gonna bring her down first, let you think about this a little bit more, and then if you still want to come, we'll go from there. Because she would have already had adjusted while I'm adjusting. Right. So mind you, I'm like, I get there, and we get really distant very quickly, especially when she got there. We'll call her ethylene. And
isn't that some kind of gasoline or fuel? Ethylene sounds like it.
And kind of realized for me, she really wasn't my cup of tea. And nothing that she really did wrong. It's just the fact that I just don't think we didn't mesh.
That's right.
So suddenly, you know, I'm getting irritable. I'm feeling like I'm boxed out. He's running off with her everywhere to do things.
Are you sure he's gay?
I would like to believe he is, but not my monkey, not my circus, and not my show anymore.
Right.
I looked at it as they're good friends, whatever, and he waits till I go to the bowling alley, and he says, we need to talk when I come back, and then he couldn't really openly say he wanted to break up with me. I was the one that had to pull the trigger because it's no matter how I do this, I'm gonna look like the asshole.
Right. So you moved back. And I'm not mad about that.
There was me. I stayed there 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and then I moved to a place because I was actually going to try to just stay there like stay in Mississippi. I looked at it as I made my bed, now I gotta lie in it. Until I moved to the wonderful little extended stay place and having these people knocking on my door all hours of the day and night, you know, looking like they are on certain things. I mean, when you got your next door mate coming out and she's got a walkie-talkie in her hand. Who walks around with a walkie-talkie?
Yeah, they're on something.
So I decided to make my move back, but what he didn't know and what his mother didn't know at the time was that when we moved down there, because they came up here to move down with me, to move me down, I had talked with my auntie and my good girlfriend. I said, in case this doesn't work out, I need to have this place and that place. I did that behind his back. I know that's kind of shysty, but
Well, no, you gotta have something to fall back on.
so you know.
Well, I'm glad you're back. Okay, and this has been such. It's been a great story. It's been. I know it ain't over yet, but we're gonna have you back because there's a point where we got to come from that we ain't going. But right now, I want to thank you.
Yeah, I think that they've had enough tea for one day.
Well, I don't know. I want tea. I want Miss T. Miss T. Next time, Miss T, baby. All right.
I will summon her out of her closet. I'll find something for her to dust off and wear, and she can, bring her pearls and her King James version of the Bible, and she can come school you a little bit.
Oh, I cannot wait.
But I greatly appreciate you having me.
I love you, and I appreciate everything that you've said and coming with the stuff from the heart. And I know these people are getting stuff they ain't never seen before. So I'm going to close this out, and when I do, can you close it out with a little belt something out after I say goodbye to these folks? And that you have no choice. Now listen, thank you all for checking us out. I want to thank my good friend Robbie Isaacs for doing what he does, and we're going to see you next time on the Johnny Laing Show with Johnny Laing.
Fine. Just remember, love is give and take. Smile at each mistake for the other's sake. Hope he never makes you blue, but if he ever do, just remember that we love you. See ya.